Once you've made sure that you know all the road rules, you're going to want to make sure that you become the best driver you can be by putting in your practice time. And because I was just one lane opening up into 2 lanes, I didn't have to use my turn signal, but I did want to check my mirror and blind spot because as I cross into the bike lane, I just wanted to be sure there weren't any cyclists. Hey, it's Jacqueline. And for the next few minutes, we're going to talk about resting your test prep nerves so that you can go into your test feeling really confident and prepared. The most important thing for you to think about as you're heading into your driving test is making sure that you've reviewed and you understand all of the road rules. So if you haven't already, check the link below for Zootobi's app. The Zootobi app has all the rules you need to know, plus practical tips for being a safe driver and passing your permit test and your driving test. Once you've made sure that you know all the road rules, you're going to want to make sure that you become the best driver you can be by putting in your practice time. And the way you can put in your practice time is by being the family driver. Get out and drive to and from school, work, the grocery store. Make sure that anytime you have the opportunity, you are the one driving. Because the more you practice, the more comfortable you'll be and the better you'll be able to interpret situations when you're driving. If you were learning a musical instrument, like the guitar, for example, you could play your guitar in your room, you could play it at the park, you could pick up your guitar, and you could practice anywhere. And that's what you want driving to feel like. You want to feel like you can drive anywhere you go, and that nothing will surprise you. Some good ways to get extra practice that I've heard from my students is, instead of going to the closest grocery store that you normally go to, maybe choose a grocery store in a town 1 or 2 extra towns away from where you live. And that way you just get to put some extra time and miles under your belt. Because time on task practicing is the most important thing to becoming a good driver. And up ahead, I get the opportunity to just show that I understand the road rules. To continue going straight, I moved slightly to the right and selected this straight lane. And because I was just one lane opening up into 2 lanes, I didn't have to use my turn signal, but I did want to check my mirror and blind spot because as I cross into the bike lane, I just wanted to be sure there weren't any cyclists. And checking the mirrors and blind spot is a really important part of being a safe driver. And if you don't check your mirror and blind spot when you're making a lane change or a turn, that is an automatic fail on the driving test. So make sure you practice whenever you're turning, checking mirror and blind spot. And I'll model that here with my right turn. I veer a little to the right after I've checked my mirror and my blind spot, and then once I'm sure it's safe, I continue my turn. If you really want to pass the road test, then you need to check out Zootobi. Zootobi helps you focus on what's important for your test and then teaches you how each maneuver should be done correctly, step by step. Not only will you be more prepared for your driving test, you'll also feel more confident and safe when you're driving. On a left turn, I'm watching forward traffic and the sidewalk crossing. And if it's clear, I get to take my turn. And it's important for me to notice when I'm on a one-way street or if I'm on a two-way street. So by driving in different areas and getting used to different road conditions, it's easier to notice when there are things that we have to be aware of. For example, right now, it's school dismissal. I'm keeping my eye on pedestrians, and I'm just more careful than I usually would be because there are so many pedestrians just being released from school. When the normal speed limit is 25, we reduce our speed to 15 if it's school dismissal. And that slower speed helps us be better prepared for a pedestrian that might pop out in front of us unexpectedly. And right now I'm tracking the cyclist coming from the right, the pedestrians crossing the street, and even the pedestrians coming up from behind. Because the red sweatshirt is in my blind spot, I know that I can make the turn while they're still on the sidewalk, so it was safe for me to go. But I'm always reading the flow of traffic, and I'm making decisions based on the pace of other folks. If people are moving faster and I feel like they're going to intersect with my lane, then I would yield and let them go. And so we're just doing neighborhood driving, practicing all the skills that we're assessed on for the driving test. Right and left turns, making safe stops, and doing our very important traffic check, scanning right and left and anticipating hazards so that we can notice and avoid if we have to. In addition to a big chunk of neighborhood driving, you're also going to have to show that you can do lane changes on a 2-lane road. So we're going to head out to a 2-lane road and we're going to practice our left and right lane changes. And just to review the steps for lane changes, we're always going to assess safety by checking the rear view mirror first. In the rear view mirror, we can see the lanes of traffic behind us. We can see other cars approaching, and we can begin to make safe decisions about whether or not it's a good time to make a lane change. So your examiner will say, when it's safe, make a left lane change. And safe means there's no one coming up fast behind me or next to me. So once I've checked rear view mirror, I put on my signal, and then I continue with left mirror and blind spot. And once I'm settled in my lane, I take my turn signal off. And when we learn our strategies for safe driving as patterns, we can just repeat the pattern whenever we need it. So as I continue straight on this 2-lane road, I'm going to be thinking about making a right lane change when it's safe. And I'm just going to follow those same strategies. I'm going to be assessing safety using my rear view mirror and looking for a safe gap. When it looks safe, I'll put on my turn signal and I'll continue with my right mirror and my blind spot. If I saw that it looked clear in my rear view mirror, but then when I looked in my right mirror, I noticed a car that I didn't see in my rear view mirror, I would maintain my lane position, let the car pass me, and I would continue my lane change after the faster car passes me. It's very important to remember that in the rear view mirror, we see everything behind us except what's blocked by the back crossbars. And it's only when I look in my right mirror that I see, for example, that blue car that was in the right lane, but it was blocked by the crossbar. So the better I understand my visibility and the obstructions, the better I can do my checks before my lane changes. Running a driving school isn't easy. Between high operating costs, managing student requests, and delivering top-notch instruction, it's a lot. Zootobi Instructor helps smooth out your day-to-day operations with features like automated scheduling and online payments. You'll also get our best in the nation in-class and online curriculum with engaging videos, immersive driving simulations, and more. Driving schools all over the country are already making the switch and loving the results. It's super simple to get started. Visit zootobi.com to book a demo or click the link in the description. So I'm going to make a right lane change when it's safe. I'm considering the slowdown in the right lane, so I don't want to make a lane change behind those slower cars. Instead, I'm just going to keep moving forward, and I'm going to look for the next safe spot to make my lane change. I have to make sure I clear the intersection. I'm tracking the white van. I do signal, mirror, blind spot, and then I safely creep over. And I really want to make sure I maintain the speed limit of 30 miles per hour. I don't want to slow down in the lane change. And I also don't want to speed up in the lane change. So keeping consistent foot pressure on the gas pedal is important. This light up ahead is a unique type of light. It's triggered by pedestrians that want to cross. When there aren't any pedestrians, the light is blank. It's just a closed light. Nothing flashes. Once a pedestrian triggers the light starts to flash yellow, and then it changes to a red light. After the solid red light, the light turns to flashing red, which we treat like a stop sign. And then when it clears, we all get to go again. So if you're practicing for your driving test, driving around for 15 or 20 minutes and practicing all the skills is an important way to warm up and just make sure that you're comfortable. And it's also a good opportunity to just see what kinds of unique traffic situations you might find yourself in so that you can be prepared for anything that happens on your test. And because it's clear and safe, I'm going to choose, I'm going to choose right on red, but my light turned green just as I was about to go. Driving by school buses at school dismissal, I remember that the speed limit is 15, a caution speed which allows me to scan safely and be prepared to respond to any obstacles. And that includes this trail crossing, where people could pop out in spaces where I don't have the best visibility. So I'm being cautious and looking and passing through when it's safe. And the only skill we haven't practiced yet is pulling over to park parallel to the curb. And I'm going to do that up ahead on the right-hand side. I have to signal because this counts as a lane change. And when I arrive parallel to the curb, I want to make sure that I'm a safe distance, within 18 inches. And when I'm reversing straight back, I keep my thumbs parallel. I look over my right shoulder to make sure that nobody walks behind my car. And I watch in the right mirror to keep my door handles parallel to the curb. You don't have to know what 3 car lengths is. Your examiner will tell you when to stop. And that's really the only skill that you might just want to add for extra practice while you're practicing your driving. All the other skills like right and left turns and lane changes, those will become a part of your regular driving as you're coming to and from your grocery store run. But pulling over to park and reversing is a little something extra that you want to make sure you're good at as well. So we've practiced all the skills you're going to be assessed on. I hope you're feeling more comfortable with the idea that when you're tested for your driving test, it's not anything special or unique. It's just a specific set of skills that you should be practicing every day whenever you're behind the wheel. So get out and get 20 good minutes of practice each day. Become a really good driver, just like you would become a really good musician or an actor or an athlete. Whatever else you're practicing, you're going to practice driving just like that so that you can be the best you can be. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks for checking in. Bye-bye.